Semir Peperet has rightly said, and I quote, "You can't teach people everything they need to know. The best you can do is position them where they can find what they need to know when they need to know." A very charmless and a very charming good morning to everyone. A hearty warm welcome to our distinguished speaker of the day, Professor Kanan M. Mudgalia. We are delighted to have our special guest, Professor Alok Kumar Chakraval sir, Professor P.K. Aluwalia sir, and Professor Kedar Singh, the Dean, School of Physical Science, Jawaharlal Nehru University, and my dear participants. Myself, Dr. Poonam Jain, your host and the Executive Council member of IAPT, welcome you all for the second online lecture organized by School of Physical Sciences, JNU, and Indian Association of Physics Teachers. The title for today's lecture is Will NEP 2020 Make Science Learning a Real Exploration? Before beginning with the formal session for the day, this is to inform you that this session is being recorded and streaming live on YouTube. Also, there is an important announcement for the participant. Kindly post your queries and questions related to the talk in the chat box so that we can adhere them after the talk. All the participants are now kindly requested to mute their mics during the whole session for the smooth conduct of this session. Without further ado, now I request Professor Kedar Singh, the Dean, School of Physical Sciences, Jawaharlal Nehru University, for the welcome address and about today's event. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Poonam Jain. Namaskar to all, and on the behalf of School of Physical Sciences, I welcome you all in lecture series on National Education Policy 2020, implementation, challenges, and path ahead. As you know, this lecture series is organizing with, jointly with School of Physical Sciences and Indian Association of Physics Teachers. It is weekend lecture series. Today is second lecture. In continuation, I extend my warm welcome to Professor A.K. Chakrawal, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Guru Ghasidas, Central University, Bilaspur, for his gracious presence and for presidential remark. Welcome, sir. For this, really, we are very, very thankful to Dr. Ram Prasad Prajapati due to this, due to his this, we have Professor Chakrawal here. I also delighted to Professor K.M. Mudgalia, Department of Chemical Engineering, IIT Bombay, for accepting our invitation to deliver a talk on, this is the NEP, then how NEP, then how it we can implement the NEP. I also welcome again Professor P.K. Aluwalia, President, IAPT, and Dr. Yogesh Kumar, Secretary, IAPT, for their support to organize this conference. Continuously, they are supporting us for this. And also, I thankful to organizing committee, Professor Manish Kumar, convener of this conference, and also my colleagues who are participating in this, this lecture series. I also thankful to Dr. Poonam Jain. Today she is the overall in charge of this, today program. Finally, I welcome colleagues, faculty members, researchers, students, and participants for joining, this lecture series. I hope this lecture series will be fruitful to understand the aim of NEP 2020. Welcome you again in this series. Thank you to all. Over to you, Poonam. Yes,
Thank you,
please.
sir.
Yes.
Now I request Dr. Ram Prasad Prajapati, School of Physical Sciences, JNU, to introduce Professor A.K. Chakrawal. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Poonam Jain, for giving me this opportunity. It is really my proud privilege to introduce chief guest of today's extension program of online lecture series on the National Education Policy 2020 implementation challenges and path ahead. So I take privilege to introduce the chief guest of today's program, Professor Alok Kumar Chakrawal. Professor Alok Kumar Chakrawal is at present Vice Chancellor at Guru Ghasidas Central University, Bilaspur. Professor Chakrawal is basically from Department of Commerce and Business Administration, Saurashtra University, Rajkot. He has a vast administrative as well as academic experience. He is at present Vice Chancellor at the Central University, Bilaspur. And prior to that, he was professor at Saurashtra University. He has been worked as IQC coordinator, director in various bodies also. Professor Chakrawal is alumni of Oxford University, MG Kashi Vidyapeeth, Purvanchal University, Gorakhpur University, and Harishchandra PG College. Professor Chakrawal has 30 years of experience in higher education, including teaching and administration. He is also associated with the Leadership for Academician program lead by MHRD in NAIPA and Oxford University. His area of specialization is basically management, accounting, finance, marketing, research. He has 25 years of research experience in which Professor Chakrawal has guided 20 students for PhD and 6 are currently working. 54 students are guided for MPhil program and more than 150 students are guided for MBA project. Professor Chakrawal has completed a major project sponsored from British Council also. He has wrote 15 books, more than 55 research papers, monograph and popular articles also. And his research work has been also awarded as a best research paper in more than 9 national and international conferences, including in US and China. Professor Chakrawal is also board member, editorial board member of 7 international and 2 national journals. And he is a recipient of 3 gold medals in graduation and post-graduation. And he has been awarded by 8 international and national awards. He is also member of NAEC peer review team and life member of Indian Accounting Association and Indian Commerce Association. Professor Chakrawal has visited various countries including USA, UK, China, Thailand, Nepal, etc. He had opportunity to work in various committees and he has been appointed as visitor nominees at Assam University, Silchar, Jamia Millia Islamia University, and he has worked as controller of examination at Saurashtra University and is member of board of studies in various central and state universities. So Professor Chakrawal is an excellent academician and administrator, and under his leadership, the Guru Ghasidas Vishwavidyalaya is now marching ahead. Since his last 7 months of joining it there, he is keen to implement the new education policy there and is closely associated with the new education policy. And he made several MOUs with various organizations and cleared the career advancement of the various faculty members there. And I hope that under his leadership, the Guru Ghasidas Central University will march ahead and it will make a role model to implement the national education policy. So I welcome you, sir, for this today's program, and I hope that, I wish that with your ideas, suggestions and motivations, the participants of this workshop will be benefited in order to successfully implement the National Education Policy 2020. So with great honor and my sincere gratitude, I would like to invite today's chief guest, Professor Alok Kumar Chakravarti. Please, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Ram Prasad Prajapati ji. And I can see on the screen Dr. Kedar Singh ji, Dr. P.K. Ahluwalia ji, Dr. Yogesh Kumar ji, and I'm sure Dr. Poonam ji is comparing to this event. And I'm sorry that I do not know, I don't have the complete list of the dignitaries who are invited today, but my warm regard. I can see Dr. Manish Kashyap ji online. This is something very, very important. We should understand the value of scientific approach in life. And science is not the responsibility of only those people who are studying in the science stream. And that is why this National Education Policy 2020 talks about interdisciplinary researches, talks about breaking of the silos. Now, what this education policy talks about, on page number 8, it is very clearly mentioned that this education policy is aiming at producing well-rounded graduates. Now, who are well-rounded graduates? Because very often we see the reports in newspapers and magazines that 75% of our engineering graduates are not employable. So it means they don't have employability skills. Even after having best of the degrees, we look for some job opportunities and we feel frustrated when we are not getting employed or inducted in some of the suitable positions. Now, what is the meaning of education? The meaning of education is freeing you all from all sort of clutches or kind of silos or kind of controls and all that. Education gives you free air. It gives you opportunity to move from places to places. It gives you the capacity and confidence to get yourself, sustainable and self-dependent, self-reliant. You need not to get any kind of support. So scientific approach, I'm sure Thomas Alva Edison was not having any kind of job opportunity, but he gave the job opportunities. And the maximum number of innovations and researches and inventions were, to his credit. I'm not going to take many more, names of the researchers and scientists who did the inventions and kind of innovations. But here is the question, what kind of education we are disseminating to the society? That's more important. The important thing is that we have to make, nation builders. We have to make job givers, not the job seekers, but the kind of, education system we had in the past. And now gradually things are changing. But in the past, do graduation from any discipline, then go for post-graduate from any discipline, then go for some diploma courses, then go for some MPhil-like courses, then go for PhD, and then you devote 10, 15, 20 years in such kind of education and you are nowhere. The time which you were required to learn basic, skills of life, or the basic skills to be successful in the life, we devoted in the kind of education system which was not that much, relevant for us. We are still teaching kind of things which are not relevant for our practical life when we go. And that is why this education policy talks about experiential learning, and it says up to 50% knowledge has to be experiential. You have to take them to the field. You have to make them. Now, in the last 2 years, we have been, teaching through online, and I see there are, across the country in different universities, there are agitations of the students that they want online examination because now they are used to online things. They don't want to come in the classroom and physical things. Here is the thing that if we don't know, like say for example, I'm giving you training of swimming by online classes. I'm giving you online lectures that how to swim. And then after I put you in the job of swimming coach, what will happen? Tell me. Certainly he will drown. He will be nowhere. He will lose his life or she will lose her life. So the thing is that Theoretical knowledge will not help the nation. The practical knowledge, experiential learning, experiential knowledge, that is going to build the nation. This is my firm belief. And I believe that scientists, those, I mean, scientific approach does not mean only in the classroom, only those who are having the science degree and all that. Science, a simple, garage running guy can do some, innovations and inventions. A simple guy who is doing some farming work in the fields of, agriculture ground, he can do some inventions. So it is not the copyright to anybody. Anybody can do. It's only your, appetite. It's your kind of, mindset. It's your kind of inclination. The way you are thinking, the way you are looking to the life, and the way you are trying to, associate and connect with the society. My good wishes to all of you for celebrating this Science Day ahead of 2 days. I mean, 28th February, we all know C.V. Raman effect and all that. And probably 1986, we started celebrating. Prior to that, we never, celebrated this. But every year, we are giving some, theme of the year that we are celebrating like this. Any teacher who is anywhere, feeling that I'm saying something, meaningful, please try to give practical knowledge and practical experiential learning to the students, not only bookish knowledge, anything and all knowledge. I mean, to see what, and nothing is inferior or superior. People are running away from their traditional professions and traditional business, and now they are going and paying, millions of rupees for learning those kind of crafts and artisans and kind of, skills. For example, we go to a salon, we pay rupees, big amount of money for getting our hairdo and all that. Javed Habibi, he is charging 10,000 rupees for one hairdo, or more than 10,000 rupees. But a simple or ordinary barber guy will not be happy to join his father's job and profession. There's a kind of, mental blockage. Nothing is inferior, nothing is superior. Anything you do, that is always, if you are doing something with the self-respect and in a dignified manner, that is all good things. Sometimes we need to break this kind of, mental blockages of the students also. We have to make them understand that life is meaningful when you are doing something with the core heart, feeling. Here, once again, I wish you all the best and very, great things ahead of this event. I mean, you have invited me for this inaugural interaction. I'm thankful to all of you. Thank you, Ram Prasad ji, for giving a wonderful introduction of mine. These profiles are, not meaningful. You person who is present before you, his actual, meaning is that what he is doing at present, past is past, that is gone thing. But presently, if you are doing something good, that is meaningful, and we should not be much, relying on our legacy and background. The only thing is that we have to live in the present, and we have to build the nation in present. We have to contribute to the nation building by way of giving the best of the academic things in our classrooms. Thank you very much for inviting here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Chakravarti. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your words of wisdom. They are really wonderful. Now, I request Professor Manish Kashyap, School of Physical Sciences, JNU, to introduce our speaker, Professor Mudgalia. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Poonam Jain, for inviting me for the introduction of today's eminent speaker. Today, we have the second lecture of the 7-day weekend lecture series on NEP 2020. And as the eminent speaker, we have Professor Kannan Moudgalya with us. So I welcome you, sir, in this event. So before he starts his lecture, let me introduce him in front of all of you. So Professor Kannan Moudgalya earned his Bachelor of Technology degree in Chemical Engineering from Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, with distinction in 1980, and Master degree in Electrical Engineering from Rice University, Houston in 1985. He also received the doctoral degree in Chemical Engineering from Rice University, Houston. And about the research career, Professor Kannan Moudgalya is a professor of Chemical Engineering System and Control and Educational Technology at IIT Mumbai He is a visiting professor at the University of Alberta. He held the position of Associate Dean, R&D, Head of Application of Software Cell, Head of the Center of Distance Engineering Education Program at IIT Bombay. He is a member of Standing Committee of the National Mission on Education through ICT, MHRD, Government of India. He is a life member of International Society for Technology in Education and Computer Society of India and a member of IEEE as well. He has also written two textbooks. One is Digital Control published by John Wiley and Son, and second is Optimization Theory and Practice jointly with Professor Mohan C. Joshi, published by Narosa, New Delhi. He has published a large number of papers in International Journal of Repute and conferences in the area of mathematical modeling, control, and simulation. He is now devoting his time on spreading education on a massive scale. He has been focusing on spoken tutorial, open source software system, virtual labs, and low-cost tablet Akash. He believes that it is possible to provide high quality education to all our children through a combination of education, information, and communication technology, making India a developed country in the process. He also often emphasizes on importance of teaching and mention it in an interview that teacher who experiment should be appreciated because falling prey to routine is easier. Professor Moudgalya has been awarded as Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay Recognition for Re-Engineering India 2020 in the former welfare industry institutional category for having paved the path for multilingualism and curating spoken tutorial in various Indian language for education, employment, and empowerment. The Spoken Tutorial Project received a Reimagine Education Award in 2015 by coming first in Nurturing Employability category sponsored by QS and Wharton School. He has also received Google MOOC Research Award for extending the offline capability of spoken tutorial methodology in 2015. So these are the some words about the personality of Dr. Moudgalya, and today he will speak on will NEP 2020 make science learning a real exploration. So with great honor and gratitude, I invite Professor Moudgalya for his eminent lecture in this series. Professor Moudgalya, please.
Thank you, Professor Kashyap, for the kind words. So do I have about an hour to talk?
Yes, of course, you are having 1 hour.
Okay. So, Honorable Vice Chancellor Chakraval, Professor Kedar Singh, Professor Ahluwalia, Dr. Poonam Jain, and of course, Professor Manish Kashyap. I may not know all the people and hence all other dignitaries. Really happy to have this opportunity to address this gathering. Let me get on with my presentation. Let me share my screen. Okay, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, in case the screen, it is possible because the technologies are still evolving. In case it stops sharing, please alert me so that I will. There are times when I gave a whole talk without slides and nobody complained. So, we are learning, everybody, both the speaker and also the audience, right? So this is the presentation that I have in mind. Let me just see. Okay. All right. And I will point out how this, what I'm going to talk about, has relevance to NEP. So one of the things that I see that a lot of people here are teachers, and this is also used as a part of teacher training. So what are the requirements? Whatever that we use should be suitable for self-learning, so the teachers can go and learn by themselves. And there should be no information loss when the teacher goes to use the same material to train, using that material to train their students, right? And then active learning is recommended because that is suitable for self-learning. And it should be suitable for self-assessment, should be able to conduct large-scale training. So these are some of the requirements, in my opinion. Okay, I mentioned self-learning. So what is, what is it, we have done in this regard? So this is the process that we came up with to guarantee the material that we create is suitable for self-learning. Normally, video tutorials are created in an extempore mode. What I'm doing now is extempore. I don't have a script. In fact, that is very easy to do. Ask an expert to speak and record them and make it available. But it may not be suitable for self-learning. So how do we make it, what method did we follow to make it suitable for self-learning? We got the idea from our movies. You might have heard people saying, directors saying, producers saying, I had an excellent script, so I made a movie. So then we asked the question, can a beginner understand? This is a difficult thing, right? Because the scripts are written by experts. Supposing I write a C programming tutorial, it is written by an expert. Can a beginner understand? Most of the time, the answer is no. So we say that if it is no, we go back and say, please improve it, because our target audience is a beginner. Until they can understand, we will not accept it. Okay. Fortunately, this comes out of the loop. It could be an infinite loop, then it is of no use. But fortunately, it comes out sometimes, 10 times, sometimes 20 times. But once a person gets used to this idea, typically in about 2-3 times, we can come out of this loop and we record a video using this script. So video created as explained in the previous page is called the spoken tutorial. It passes the beginner check. That is the most important thing, right?
Welcome to the spoken tutorial on embedding mathematics in XFIG.
So that is a sample, right? So spoken tutorials are designed for self-learning through the novice check of the underlying script. Why is self-learning important? Because our target audience often lacks self-confidence, and especially students taught by our teacher trainees. Confidence level goes up by self-learning. We have seen this many times. If only they can say that they learned it by themselves, that they are capable of learning. The moment they say that they are capable of learning, their confidence level goes up. It helps them in all other areas as well. And then active learning, we enforce it through a method called side-by-side learning. By the way, if it is not clear, spoken tutorials are created for IT training to improve the employment potential. Here, I am demonstrating Scilab. Here is a Scilab video, Scilab spoken tutorial. And here I have opened the Scilab software itself. And this whole thing is the screenshot. Entire screenshot is presented. Part of the screen is video, part of the screen is software, right? And what do we ask them to do? Start from the beginning, reproduce one command at a time. Listen to a command, reproduce it. If it works, go to the next command. If not, rewind, practice again. It will always work because it is created for self-learning. One can self-learn through this method. We insist on this, that is having only these two or maybe only things that are required during the tutorial. The reason is we are used to maximizing a screen. So we might say, no, why should I see side by side? I'll open video only, or I'll open only the software. Okay. Then how do I go to the next one? I do the control tab. I do the control tab. I will recycle. I will cycle through and then locate it. But then if you do that, you may end up in a wrong tab. and then there might be an interesting advertisement, and you may want to go there, and then you want to do the booking and things like that. You may completely get lost. Your focus will be completely gone. In fact, this is extremely important when you are conducting such a training for your students. You would want them to pay attention. You want to make sure that their attention is not diverted. So we always say, do this side-by-side process. So the learning method is hands-on training, learning by doing, learning by example, active learning, and so on. And as a result, assessment actually becomes less crucial because they are actually reproducing everything. It is not like a class where they just go listen to somebody talk for an hour, and at the end of it, unless you have a test, they may not remember. Here, they have to reproduce the whole thing. And we also make sure that in our videos, 80% of the content can be reproduced. Theory is only 20%. And I believe that this is a necessary condition for self-learning.
Here we can customize the assignments. We can make the child have a lot of experiential learning opportunities because the child can drag the apparatus as per requirement, do it, or transfer everything as possible in the physical lab. So more interactive, more hands-on, definitely more wonderful and hence more useful. Undoubtedly much better than.
So some people could say that after all, I am from IIT, that whatever I'm saying is useful only to engineers. So I wanted to dispel that belief. That's why I'm showing a school teacher telling, so this is accessible also to school teachers. Of course, she was talking about chemistry labs. We conducted a chemistry lab experiment using spoken tutorial, using a software called Chem Collective Lab. Of course, we have something on physics also, but I'll share the names with you shortly. But I thought I'll share some testimonials with you.
Where we were actually doing the experiments and understanding how the experiment goes, rather than looking into webinars one after the other in this virtual environment.
So as I mentioned, assessment is probably less critical, but let's see what another teacher says.
Use which I find it will be for all of us will be, we can use it for assessment, sir. Like once, the major challenge which we face is when we are assessing their practicals, then mostly we'll have to depend on Viva and the practical files and whatever modules we show it to them. We are actually not able to gauge that how much the child is familiar with the apparatus and the use of it. But now this will help us to even carry on the assessments very smoothly, because once that we can ask the child to do a particular say module and practice and then send the screenshot to us, so we'll be able to know that whether the child has understood the concept properly or not.
Okay, so there is no information loss because the learning happens through the tutorial. The teacher trains from that, and then they use the same thing for the students. The students also learn from that. Okay, so that is created for self-learning. Then we said, why don't we dub it into our languages? Because many of our students are not fluent in English. For people not fluent in English, translation should be easy to understand. We don't want pure translation, literary translation. This is not for promoting our languages, but for promoting employment to our children who may not be fluent in English. Spoken tutorials are dubbed into India's 22 official languages. Only the audio is dubbed, video remains in English. Students can use normal computer, normal keyboard, normal software, etc. And hence it helps retain employment opportunities because they also, those who are not fluent in English also want to join TCS, Infosys, companies like that. They also want to be posted to UK and other Western countries, work there, and so on and so forth. So they don't want to learn in our mother tongue, although they may do the logic and so on in our mother tongue. So long as they produce a working code, companies don't care in what language they do the thinking. They do the logic, for example. Of course, to do the logic and so on, our mother tongue is actually a lot better for many of our fellow citizens. So here is a sample script. This is how we create the tutorial. And then what we do is we time each sentence. And once we do it, then we just replace each sentence by, for example, here Hindi equivalent. Here I have, and then I have juxtaposed these English and Hindi. You can do this for Tamil, for example. You can do it for Urdu.
C++ में कंस्ट्रक्टर्स और डिस्ट्रक्टर्स के स्पोकन ट्यूटोरियल में आपका स्वागत है।
নমস্কার বন্ধুগণ, আপনাদের স্বাগত জানাই আমাদের গেটিং স্টার্টেড উইথ সাইল্যাব নামক
स्पोकन ट्युटोरियलच्या क्रिएटिंग बेसिक कंटेंट वरील पाठात
प्यारा साथीहरू, कन्डिशनल एक्जिक्युसन इन ड्याश स्पोकन ट्युटोरियलमा स्वागत छ।
क्रिएटिंग बेसिक कंटेंट उत्ते स्पोकन ट्यूटोरियल विच ਤੁਹਾਡਾ స్వాగత है।
ఫ్లో షీటింగ్ కు அறிமுகம் குறித்த ஸ்போக்கன் டியூட்டோரியல் க்கு நல்வரவு।
అందరికీ నమస్కారం।
जावा इत्यस्मिन् अंकगणितीय प्रक्रियायाः पाठं प्रति स्वागतम्। अस्मिन् पाठे वयं विविधाः अंकगणित प्रक्रियाः अभ्यस्यामः। ते संयोगः, वियोगः, गुणकं, भागाहारः तथा एतेषां।
So you can see that the video is still in English. We don't touch the video. Only the audio is changed. And as I showed, you have to do the timing only once. And whatever is the target language, replace with the corresponding audio. So it becomes extremely easy. And I spent a little more time on Sanskrit because in my opinion, when we started, I thought Sanskrit would be very difficult. And it was not that difficult. We could actually dub 300 tutorials into Sanskrit. In fact, it is one of our 22 languages. It is the second official language of Uttarakhand. And of course, if you can do it in Sanskrit, dub it in Sanskrit, you can dub it into any other language as well. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, video in English helps retain employment opportunities, whereas dubbed audio helps people not fluent in English. It turns out that it is also helpful, this dubbing, to our neighboring countries. They don't have to spend anything. They can just take our dubbing and start using it. And we have some samples in international languages also. Simple language is required so that dubbing becomes easy. It is also helpful to the target audience. Remember, national level programs, whatever we are doing, it is for national level program, because I'm going to show you later that we are trained 70 lakh students using this method, and it was initiated by NMEICT, MHRD Government of India, and obviously they will be interested in training a large number of people. And so if you want to do national level training, the target audience you have to think about. They are not the elites, top 1% of the people. They can learn by themselves. It is for people who cannot, who don't have help, who don't go to good schools, who don't have good colleges, who don't have good teachers, and can they be benefited? Look at our target audience, bottom of the pyramid. So doing it in simple language is helpful to them, and also it is helpful while doing the dubbing. We have more than 1,500 tutorials in English and 15,000 dub tutorials into 22 plus languages. The next thing we did was access to internet is not required. We made an offline application. One can download an entire series as zip file, unzip into all PCs and use offline. Of course, each tutorial can also be seen offline. You can right click, download, you have it, you can use it, right? It turns out that the spoken tutorial access went up by 100 times. We could conduct a workshop for degree college teachers. They all came to IIT Bombay to learn LaTeX. LaTeX is an amazing typesetting software. I believe a lot of physics teachers and students use LaTeX. So our LaTeX tutorials are extremely good. In fact, I created them because I got tired of teaching LaTeX to my students year after year. After this, I told them just learn. So this is good enough even for PhD students, the spoken tutorials. We could conduct a workshop for 250 people. There was no problem of bandwidth limitation. In fact, we could conduct such training even for 1,000 people in one go. We could conduct a workshop even in Burma, Myanmar, because it is in news for all wrong reasons. You may say that there is electricity. It turns out that the photograph was taken when the electricity returned. Most of the time, the electricity was not there. So people could use the offline version. Okay. Spoken tutorial has a MOOCs framework because you have videos, assignment, additional learning, exams, discussions, user examples, reviews, ratings, automated emails, all these things are there. And then you have, in addition, we have lots of scripts as well, up to nth language. As I told you, we have 22 languages, plus we also dub in a few foreign languages. And if you collect all of them, it becomes a whole course. This is tutorial 1, tutorial 2, tutorial N. What is N? It could be 20 for C programming, 40 for Java, things like that, 50 for PHP, so on and so forth. Is this method effective? Okay, I'm going to give an example once again from a school child.
Tanvi, so please tell first what you are doing, class you are in, and how you created, and so on. Yeah.
I'm in class 4. I created it in Inkscape and Syncing Animating Studio. Now, what happened was when I opened the Inkscape and Syncing, that time I did not understand anything. And when I saw the one tutorial of spoken tutorial, that time I understood it very clearly. It was a very nice habit.
So why do I show that? Because we did a competition on animation creation on Panchatantra Tales, okay, using a software called Synfig Studio, 2D animation software, open source software. Anybody was welcome. And she said that she didn't know that. She wanted to participate. She was artistic. She wanted to create an animation. But once she listened to the spoken tutorial, she found that it was easy to use and she learned. And I'm going to show you the animation that she made.
The heron who liked to eat the crab meat. Long time ago, there lived a heron near a pond. It was a very lazy creature, and once he got a plan to catch fishes without working much. He sat near the pond in a very gloomy face and without attempting to catch any fish.
Okay, so you got a hang of it. So she created, and we gave her a special mention in this. So so obviously this is effective. We have trained 70 lakh students in the last 7 to 8 years, 2 lakh teachers, and half are from art, science, and commerce colleges. Okay, they also come to our webpage and they learn, and we don't know who they are. It helps different types of audience, topics of introduction, Office, of course, all open source software. We use LibreOffice, and then programming courses, advanced programmers, web page development, and so on. And then simulation users, Scilab, for example, I mentioned. Graphic artists, I mentioned this. Professor Uma Kanjilal said that Blender was very useful to learn, animation, and they could create animated, teaching material using that. So she said they were also introduced to interactive game development using Blender. For chemistry, as I mentioned, Chem Collective Virtual Labs, I mentioned. Biology, Cell Designer, BioPython, UCSF, Chimera. For physics, we have EXP XPICE, apps on physics, PhET simulation for physics. Basically, open source software. If there are more open source software for physics, one can create spoken tutorials on them as well, for example, right? Mathematics, GeoGebra, Grace, Nullplot, PhET simulation for mathematics. The Honorable Vice Chancellor is from accounting area. In case we want to take up accounting in a big way, for example, this is something you may want to convey to him, because how many people who do BCom, for example, use an accounting software? Okay, the accounting software is expensive. They cannot use it, and they all use it on the ledger, for example, okay, on paper. But when they go to companies, they have to use a software. Whereas front accounting is open source software, and we have spoken tutorials available in all our 22 languages, and it is good enough. Okay, once they know an open source software, accounting, what is credit, what is debit, what is ledger, so on and so forth, they can easily apply it. The ideas are the same. Only thing is buttons are different. They are in different locations. They can learn using a commercial software. So, for example, if they have to use Tally, they can learn it in one day, for example. I will not spend too much time on testimonial. This is Mr. Amit Kumar, computer teacher, Navodaya, in fact, Shimla, right? And he's the one, he got a national award for teachers. This was in 2015 award. He got it in 2016 from our honorable president. In fact, he got a Fulbright fellowship and spent 1 semester in the US in a university. What did he do? He taught IT training to the students, because Navodaya students stay on campus. He taught them, went there evening and said, I'm going to teach you. And so, and he used spoken tutorial. You can see that he says ICT in education using FUZZ in association with CIET, NCERT at New Delhi, and spoken tutorial, right? And a college principal, of course, it is applicable to college principal. Here is a principal who says that many students got TCS jobs thanks to spoken tutorial based training. And then this HOD of MCA department got a call from a company that wanted to recruit people who knew PHP. Unfortunately, PHP was not even in the curriculum. So she just conducted training using spoken tutorial. Interestingly, the company was serious. They were not coming to Aurangabad just to go to Ajanta Ellora, because that was a concern. But here it was a serious company. They were really interested and they recruited 6 people. She was very happy. And yeah, this is what she said. Dr. Chitra Desai, head MCA. Now she is, of course, in Army Institute in Pune. And a BSc graduate, forget about engineers, even BSc graduate or MCA graduates, even an MCA BSc graduate who was doing BSc in Mumbai University, she said that she was very happy to be recruited as a Linux developer at TCS. And she said, after doing BSc, imagine getting recruited as a Linux developer, that too in a TCS. Even engineers would like to join TCS, right? Okay, now MHRD said, I don't believe you. Okay, you are showing very large numbers, right? Don't believe you, you're just quoting some large numbers. Start charging a little bit. Let's see whether they are ready to pay. If they are ready to pay, then I will believe that your method is okay. So, and of course, they said that that can partially be useful for your own funding, and then MHRD can reduce. By the way, MHRD doesn't give us any more funding for our activity. So we went for a paid model for online tests and certificates. Okay, only thing is we said that keeping the original objective in mind, we said that it should be affordable. We don't want to charge arm and length. So we came up with an annual subscription of 25,000 rupees per college, and any number of students, teachers can appear for online test and take a certificate. Of course, they have to pass. They don't pass the test, we don't give the certificate. We tell them, look, the whole college is doing it anyway. If you fail, no problem, try after 2 weeks. Okay, but don't try any illegal means, because we really want you to understand. And the test is administered in colleges. Invigilator's name appears in certificates. We tell the students, don't spoil the name of your invigilator. And the cost of a certificate can be as low as 10 rupees, 20 rupees, 15 rupees, and so on. Because if, for example, a college in Hyderabad took 1,500 certificates in 1 year, and the cost came to just about 15 rupees, for example, right? And for schools, we make it even more affordable. It's only 5,000 rupees per school. Interestingly, the payment resulted in higher efficacy, because when we conducted the training, people were saying, okay, I got it, so what? And then only 15% of the people actually took the test. But the moment we came up with this small subscription mechanism, the number of people increased to more than half. In fact, we are actually trying to get 75% of the people who appear in our online test, training to take the test, right? What is the extent of coverage? We have 1,500 colleges signed up for this, and half are arts, science, and commerce colleges. We have common service center of MIT with 6,000 centers are also our potential centers. We also conducted job fairs. What did we do? We are conducting the test. We know who are good performers. So we collected them and then conducted job fairs for them. We organized one with NASCOM. 10 companies participated, and 30 students got 60 jobs, 59 jobs actually, almost 2 jobs per person. I have a testimonial next.
Hi, my name is Shraddha Sue and I'm the Senior Manager Talent Acquisition for Rave Technologies, as you see. So firstly, it gives me an immense pleasure to be a part of this campus today. And we have been conducting interviews since morning. And we have got our select today. So I would like to introduce him. His name is Mayur Wagmode. Okay, and we have selected him for our company. Yeah.
I'm Mayur Wagmode from Pune Vidyarthi Girls College of Engineering. I'm currently in the final year of computer engineering. There are not companies coming to our college, but I thank to Spoken Tutorial and NASCOM for arranging such a beautiful mega job fair.
Okay, so you would have noticed one important statement. He says companies don't come to his college for recruitment. In fact, this is a problem in many arts, science, and commerce colleges. Only a few will get, if they are really ranked very high, companies come. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult. They have no campus placements. Their students, especially good students, suffer. They have to struggle to get a job. Whereas small companies also have difficulty in recruiting. Why do they not go? Because it becomes very expensive. So we have become a platform for these good students from less known colleges and also for SMEs, right? What are the benefits of subscription? Higher completion efficiency, not just individual tutorial, but an entire series is available for download. Job fairs, for example, unless they take the test, we said tests will be available only for people who subscribe. And of course, new topics can be made available to subscribers. First, this includes both teacher training and student training. The moment the college is subscribed, the teacher also get the benefit. Okay, I'm going to pause for a minute at this point, and I have our training manager, Zahira, present. And I would want her to say a few words, and then I will continue. I'm going to talk about FOSSEE next, open source software, construction of attainable pyramids of excellence, and so on shortly. But I'm going to let me stop sharing. And Zahira, are you there? Zahira? Okay, I'm not sure whether she's there. Zahira, in case you are there, you are maybe on mute. You may want to unmute and do that, unless, let me see. In the worst case, I will ask her to share her contact details, and she will help in case anybody is interested in getting the scheme going in your colleges. So let me go on, continue. Let me talk about FLOSS and FOSSEE, what these are. Previously, we used to call it as FOSS, but then that is free and open source software, so FOSS. But then people said that free, does it denote free of cost or does it denote freedom? Okay, in this context, in today's context, for example, freedom becomes very important. Freedom is a lot more valuable than being free of cost. In fact, freedom can convey free of cost as well, right? Or low cost, whatever. But freedom is a lot more valuable. So to indicate that, we use this word libre, okay? Because libre means freedom in French. So that's why we put this L. So FOSS became FLOSS, okay? And then FOSSEE, the name was already coined. So we said we will not change the name. FOSSEE means free, libre, and open source software for education. Initially, we were doing only engineering education. That's why you have two E's. Later on, people said, MHRD said, what about science education? Why don't you please take care of them also? Then afterwards, they said, what about other fields? Why don't you take care of economics, commerce, everybody else, management, and so on? So we said, we will take care of everybody. So we removed that. We said only education. FLOSS means 4 freedoms: freedom to use the code as it is, distribute the code, modify the code and use it, and to distribute the modified code. These are the 4 freedoms that FLOSS comes with. Why FLOSS? You can use it legally and free of cost. it is difficult to access licensed servers of commercial software through VPN during the pandemic days, as many of you would have experienced. It allows learners to become better programmers. It is free of cost to the industry also. Use proprietary software only when absolutely required. So, I mean, there are times when you may have to use it, but use it. I'm not saying that, I'm not arm twisting you and saying, no, you should not use commercial software. Why will you use it? Because you may have a paper to submit. You may have a conference coming. You may need to use a toolbox of a commercial software. By all means, use it. But it doesn't mean that you should use the commercial software in your class, right? You can use Scilab, for example, to do a 3D plot, to solve differential equations, to solve nonlinear equations through Newton's method. You can do all of that, for example, using Scilab. So don't use commercial software because you have to use one of its toolbox for a paper that you want to write. Your students don't need the toolbox. Don't get the students addicted to commercial software unnecessarily, because you would want your students to go out when they leave your college to use the things that you taught, right? So if you use a commercial software, the company that they go to may not have access to it. It may become very expensive, right? In fact, we know that some commercial software, which was almost free in academia, became 2 crore, for example. Then that person found that Scilab was equivalent. He could use Scilab free of cost, and he used Scilab, for example, right? You could use proprietary software. It may be required, extremely important for you today because you are writing a paper. It doesn't mean that you should use it for your classroom use. Okay, don't get your students addicted to commercial software unnecessarily. So objectives of FOSSEE are to replace proprietary commercial software with FLOSS, to save institutional and government money, to increase the use of FLOSS in education, to create collaborative content through students and faculty across the country, and enable freedom in software usage. So these are some of the open source software we promote: Scilab, Python, OpenFOAM, DWSim, Open Modelica, R. By the way, R, we have a machine learning workshop coming up, one-day workshop coming up. In fact, I have a link for that. I'll show you shortly. Using spoken tutorials, we have a professor in mathematics and statistics at IIT Bombay, Professor Srivastava, Radhindushka Srivastava. So I got a message from Zahira. She was not allowed to unmute. Please allow me to introduce. She says, Zahira, you please put your message in the code.
Sir, it's done.
It's done?
It's done, sir. Yes, sir.
So Zahira, I will allow you to speak at the end of this because this is not the right time for you to speak. Let me finish my presentation, then you can come on, right? What we will do is our Radhindushka Srivastava is there. He's conducting a one-day workshop on R. Some of you may be interested because machine learning is nowadays is a hot topic, and some of the students may actually get a job, so on. So remember, the objective of the spoken tutorial based training is to improve the employment potential. Okay. Then we have OSDAC, Linux, Focal. This is for graphics. I told you about Synfig Studio, Blender, and so on. Those are covered here. These are software equivalents. This is open source software in the place of commercial software. So we did textbook companions. Okay. So R is an open source alternative to SPSS. R textbook companion. I have some things on what a textbook companion is and explaining it using R. Okay. Students give R code for solved examples for standard textbooks. Very simple. Take a standard textbook, give R code for solved examples. The FOSSEE team verifies the correctness. It gives certificates and honoraria to students. Honorarium when funds are available. In fact, last 1 year we had really great difficulty because there was no money anywhere. Okay, many projects closed. Somehow we survived thanks to our the funds that we raised through subscription mechanism. We could get FOSSEE also running. You could construct, keep other projects alive. But actually, it's not the honorarium that is important to students. It's the URL becomes a lot more important. The code gets uploaded onto the FOSSEE portal, and we give the URL to the student, and the students share that. And of course, we give a certificate. They share them, and then students got jobs, internships, and then admission to higher studies and so on, right? We have 40 textbooks solved and 3,000 examples solved, available here for the entire world. Let me show you the demo. Here is our textbook companion. So these are all statistics books, right? These are completed books. So you can say this person is from Bhilai, GTU, Indore, IIT, IIT Vadodara, Pondicherry University, and so on. And you can actually go, if I click here, business statistics for contemporary decision making, you can actually go there. You can see this. You can download all the R code. You can download it as a PDF file, and so on. You can also, it is also available on the cloud. Okay. Now let me show you another textbook companion. So this is cloud.scilab.in. Okay, so you can choose a topic. Supposing you say I want to choose physics, choose physics. What is the subcategory? Supposing you say I want to choose modern physics, and then select a book. There are lots of books available, say Resting and Holiday. And which chapter? Let's say application of Newton's laws. Select examples. There are, let's say 5.4. Okay, so here is an example. And then if you execute, you get the solution. So you can see all of that using Scilab textbook companion, already solved. Okay. So for example, it is also possible to use this Scilab to set problems in your area. For example, suppose you want to change this. Let's say I want to multiply this T. So this is in Newton, right? So tension in the string is in Newton. This is what it is. Supposing I want to multiply it by, convert it into some other units. Okay, let me see. Mass. It's easy. I remember. Let's say that I don't want to do this for whatever reason. I don't want to do it in kg. I want to do it in grams. So let me multiply this by 1000. So kg becomes, this becomes, of course, you have to modify other things also. Let me execute. So you can see that this has been converted into grams. So it is possible for you to go to our page, and then there are a large number of books available. You can do it on the cloud. You can download it. Okay. For example, here you can, okay, before that, let me just show you who created it. Modern Physics. It was created by Prajakta Joshi. Gautam Chandekar was the mentor. And then this person is from Pune University. This person created it, right? You can download the Scilab code for this book, then download the Scilab code for this chapter, and download the Scilab code for this example, for example. Right? All right, let me go back. Why do students contribute? As I mentioned, certificates, honorarium, URL of their work, which they can use for jobs, internship, scholarship, etc. And many have benefited. So this summarizes the FOSSEE activities in a nutshell. Textbook companions, lab migration. Lab migration is also another very useful thing. Let me see if I can show that, because some of you teachers may be interested in that. So let me go to let me go to scilab.in and let me go to lab migration. By the way, this is available in case anybody wants to labs, completed labs. You can see that, of course, many are in electrical engineering, digital logic design, feedback control design, and so on. This is one on finance calculations. Here is one on operating systems. I think there are some on mathematics. There is one on simulation lab. Here it is, probability theory and statistics lab. Electronic devices and circuits. Some of you might be might have a program on MSc electronics. You may want to use this, for example. Antenna design lab is there, and so on and so forth. Here it is, another antenna. So, and how does one participate? For every one of them, what is the procedure? What is the coding guideline? So on and so forth. Everything is available. Labs in, so large number of labs are already converted. 102 labs are already ongoing, and labs in progress. We have about 30 that are going on. Here it is, statistical mechanics, for example. This may be of interest to some physics faculty members, for example. We promote GIS through QGIS, and then we have we conducted a mapathon, for example. Map drawing is happening. In fact, it just got closed, right? Okay, I'm going to skip this. Okay, in fact, we extended this to 25th. So why did I do all this? I told you about, that we can construct a pyramid of excellence, for example. So what do we do? How do I construct the pyramid of excellence? By the way, this afternoon, I'm giving a TED talk, and I'm going to talk about pyramids of excellence. And in fact, it is going to be based on this. And I'm going to actually talk about the entrance exam that is a menace, namely JEE, right? I'm going to talk about it, that we should come up with something better, something more humane, for example, that our students at the end of it say that I spent 5 years, I got nothing out of it. I'm totally burnt out. Can we come up with something, more humane? I'm going to talk about that. But anyway, how do we construct this? Train through spoken tutorials, and then Scilab textbook companion, almost anybody can participate. So a part of these people will go to the next level. And then some of them say, can I go to the next level? We tell them, okay, participate in the hackathon, come up with a cloud solution. We have a project, why don't you join? Research, building simulators, etc. At every level, you can see people are doing something extra, go to the next level. Do something extra, go to the next level. That's how this pyramid gets constructed. Students at the top of the pyramid can be placed anywhere. In fact, students at intermediate levels can also be placed anywhere. And as I mentioned earlier, they are already getting jobs, internship, and so on and so forth. Seeing this, those at the lower levels will aim higher and achieve. Because they will say, well, if only I put in 10% more effort, I would have gone to the next level, right? If everybody tries, the whole pyramid gets lifted. And there are no limits at any level. Okay? Because any number, it is open pyramid. They can keep climbing up, right? The whole pyramid gets lifted. And our children can be placed anywhere in the world, right? We also applied this to non-ICT areas, to first 1,000 days of a baby, because spoken tutorials have been validated for ICT training. Is it applicable to other skills training? I believe it is. In fact, I believe that ICT skills are only the tip of the iceberg. We can apply it to extend it to other skill areas as well. So we said we applied because I have a passionate collaborator, a Dr. Rupal Dalal, who's into health and nutrition, and we are focusing on the first 1,000 days of a baby.
Welcome to the spoken tutorial on cross-cradle hold for breastfeeding. In this tutorial, we will learn about choosing the correct breastfeeding hold for a mother and her baby.
Okay. This is Rupal Dalal I mentioned. She conducts, using these tutorials, we have trained 30,000-40,000 health workers, and each of them influences about 100 mothers. So you can imagine what it will be, right? So in fact, I have some case studies. Men also join these workshops. Okay, this baby was refused admission, but our healthcare workers didn't give up. We taught they taught the mothers how to express milk, and the same baby now, after 6 months, doctors had given up, but not our healthcare workers. There are more babies before and after. 4 weeks, 1.4 kg, 6 months, 5.5 kg. Another baby started below this in the red region and went to green region. Okay. This baby was stunted at 3 months. He's 5 years now, touches 85th percentile on the WHO growth chart. You can see that it is going up, almost touching this second line, which is 85th percentile on WHO growth chart. This is the period, and this is the length of the baby. Only 15% of the children the world over are as tall as him. Here are samples of some healthy babies that were born in Melghat. In fact, they have not seen such healthy babies in a long time. Okay. So I'm almost at the end of the presentation. So I have another testimonial by a nurse.
क्रॉस क्रेडल आप सिखा रहे हो जे वीडियो में, वहाँ हम बच्चे को रखते हो तो बच्चे और माता का संपर्क बहुत ज्यादा रहता है और फीड अच्छे से ले रहा है और वो जो मुंह खुलता है वो बहुत ज्यादा खुलता है.
Okay. So I have more examples and so on. Currently working on several other skills. Okay. But remember, all these are for people at the bottom of the pyramid. Okay. So maybe at this point, I will ask Zahira to unmute. Please tell what you do, share your contact details. So anybody who's interested can get in touch with you, you can help them. Okay,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please
Thank
go.
you so much. Hello, everyone. My name is Zahira Sheikh. I am training manager for Spoken Tutorial. Sir has already introduced the program. I would like to share the details from my side as well. So as Kannan sir said that we have trained more than 70 lakh students till date, and we have partnered with 115 universities across the nation. This program is helping students, faculty members, learners to do lab courses, and they can do it from anywhere at any time. So I would like to share one thing, that during COVID lockdown, as online studies were going on, Spoken Tutorial has helped many students, colleges, and schools. Many students were able to complete their lab courses from anywhere at any time. So lab courses such as programming languages, like Arduino for physics, Cam Collective for chemistry, and front accounting for commerce, all these courses. We also have employability oriented courses like Drupal, Python, PHP, MySQL. So all these courses with certification coming from the best institute, IIT Bombay, through distance learning method, and at a very nominal cost. So we have many student and faculty development programs ongoing, and anyone who is interested, any faculty member who want to enroll their students in student development programs can get in touch with me. I'll be very happy to help you. And any college, if you want to start this program in your respective colleges, you can contact me. So I will share my contact details in the chat. I would request you to connect with me, and I'll be very happy to discuss regarding this. Any queries, any discussion, please feel free to contact. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zahira. Yeah, we actually have another project, Indian Culture Portal. Some of you may be interested in this. So let me just show it to you momentarily. Okay, so I'm not able to show this because from IIT Bombay, we have a problem, but you can actually try that. So this is Indian culture, not India culture. indianculture.gov.in. If you go there, you'll be able to see it. To conclude my talk, ICT-based education provides a lot of opportunities. Suitable design of education methods is important, demonstrated through spoken tutorial and FOSSEE projects. These are our contribution to the national education policy. We are talking about interdisciplinary kind of work. We are talking about hands-on. We are talking about making it accessible to students who are not fluent in English. We are talking about improving their self-confidence. So that's why I call it our contribution to Atmanirbhar. Women empowerment, we talked about mother and newborn, for example. In fact, in the first 1,000 days, we are talking about 2 years after the baby is born. That is 730 days, 365 into 2, plus 270 days before it is born, which means we are talking about mother's health and baby's health. So women empowerment. To conclude, our project is funded by National Mission on Education through ICT, Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching, Ministry of Education, Government of India. So I will stop here. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. I think I finished within time.
Thank you so much, sir, for this enlightening lecture. So there is a question from Anshu Khera. She wanted to ask, can an individual also use spoken tutorial if his school or college is not opting for subscription?
Yes, it is indeed possible. And in fact, that's what Zaghera mentioned, that it is possible. How to do that? You can get in touch with Zaghera. And in fact, during the pandemic, we had to do that because most colleges were not meeting. People are not going to the colleges. So how do you do that? So we came up with a method called honor certificate. Remember, when it happens in a college, we give it the invigilated certificate. But what happened was during the pandemic, we had to come up with this method of honor certificate. We have that as well. Yes, it is indeed possible. In fact, many people, spoken tutorials are also available on SWAYAM portal, and students say that I want to take a test. How do we do that? So it is indeed possible. We help.
Thank you so much, sir. I hope Anshu Khera will contact Zahira. There are no more questions in the chat box. Fortunately, I think all the participants have understood it well because you have explained in such a lucid manner. So there is no difficulty to understand everything. So without further ado, now I request Professor P.K. Ahluwalia, sir, the President IAPT, to share his views about today's lecture. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm really honored to be part of this lecture. Thank you, Professor Kannan Moudgilli, for giving us such a wonderful exposure to a great idea and the influence which it has caused in the last, maybe I think more than a decade now. It's not just a journey of 1 or 2 years, but it's a journey over a decade. Let me first tell my Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Chakrawal, if he's here, that this is a program which we are organizing under the banner of IAPT to enlighten our stakeholders about the opportunities which are available to us, which we need to really tap. And I think today's lecture, dear friends, you will agree, has given us so much food for thought that maybe some of us would like to create such wonderful things, which Professor Kannan Moudgilli has actually talked today. Dear friend, I have been in touch with Professor Kannan since 2011. And let me tell you that one of the very interesting benefits which you drew at Himachal Pradesh University was a very interesting concern which we had. We were actually introducing choice-based credit system in our university. And there were many courses which were to be designed for giving hands-on experience to students on computers. And we wanted to generate actually 3 credit courses for that. And there was one more thing which was, disturbing us was this, that there are not many teachers in the colleges who can take these kinds of courses. So we approached Professor Kannan and requested him that, can you please design 3 credit courses for us mapped with the spoken tutorials which you have created. And I'm very happy to tell you that 9 such courses were created, mapped with the spoken tutorials available on the spokentutorials.org website. And it really made a difference. And that worry which was there, that who will run these courses, was taken care of. So that is the kind of reach which we have with the help of such innovative programs. There were many things which Sir has touched. And one of the underlining things which was there was that assessment is not what you call as important as learning. And that's a very important point. And because, it's a kind of a reusable object, if a student is in the self-learning mode, one can go and learn things till the person is confident or the student is confident about it. And it very nicely gels with what National Education Policy is also saying. Look at the kind of structure which has been created, which Sir shared with us. And that structure is that they have involved lots of stakeholders, not only in the learning process, but in the process of creating these software also. I think this is the master stroke of this particular program, which we have seen today. What a good idea, creating textbook companions. I think if we can also catch hold of this idea in the context of IAPT itself, I think we can do wonders with it. Also, there was one more point which was emphasized by Sir, that it is not that you just come and extempore deliver a lecture, but create a script and create a good story which becomes pleasant to the learner also, and give a suitable pace to the presentation also in that particular process. And Sir, I want to tell you that IAPT has got about 9,000 teachers all across India, at school level, at college level, and at university level. And today's exposure, which you have given us, and we have recorded this lecture also, we will try to spread it as much as possible so that physics community starts, participating with this project itself. Sir, lately we have in our community talking about, creating multilingual resources for our stakeholders. Like, for example, we have 22 regional councils, and each regional council actually caters to a different region of language. Can we really create some kind of a common resource, say in English, and make it multilingual at the national level itself? If we will be able to achieve it, I think that will be a great service to our students in the rural areas also. And maybe we will find some place on the spokentutorials.org website also for our activities. That is what I am looking forward to. It was amazing to hear, Sir, that you have trained 70 lakh students. It's I think, what National Education Policy is saying, that we have to actually increase gross enrollment ratio. And if we have to increase gross enrollment ratio, it is impossible to bring all the learners to a physical classroom. I think there is no way except reaching out to them through this ICT mode. And in the last 2 years, I think by hit and trial method, each of the teachers, because of that kind of a emergency, has learned to use these tools. And after 2 years, now they are feeling very confident about it also. I think that is also what makes us see the kind of visionary programs which you led for NME ICT in India itself. And it has been recognized by Google and by many other international agencies, which is indeed a great achievement. And I feel that the mention of those labs which you have talked about, we can also do something in that. Only lately, sir, I came to know that for class 11 and 12, the ISRO Space Application Center has created a small kit which can be given to a school where they can conduct those experiments. And I think if we can, by taking that kit, create this kind of a platform of spoken tutorials, I think that also can bring a lot of change in the behavior of the students and the teachers towards conducting experiments in schools, which is actually getting what you call very low priority because of the competition pressure on the students. I think that is what I see as a possible way of this. And that side-by-side learning, in fact, is a great idea where a student finds that he is having a teacher on his side and he can learn from there, keep on hopping to the working screen and going back to the video screen and coming back. Sir, you spared so much time for us. Your talk is in tune with the national education policy. Only lately I heard about UGC talking about a digital university. And I think these kinds of resources are desirable to make that a success. On behalf of IAPT, sir, I thank Professor Chakrawal, Professor Kedar Singh, Professor Munish, Professor Seema Vats, Professor Yogesh Kumar, Secretary IAPT RC01, and Ma'am Poonam Jain. Ma'am has conducted it so graciously, I must say, that it is a pleasure, to have you as a host also for this kind of a program. And I also thank Regional Council 01 of Delhi and Haryana, who have been the host along with Jawaharlal Nehru University. I am thankful to the Dean School of Physical Sciences and our very enthusiastic, Professor Manish Kashyap ji, who is working at the end. Back end most of the times, he's creating so many things, talking to the speakers, talking to the people who would like to visit and participate in it. That's a great idea. Sir, we would like you to come and be part of our Indian Association of Physics Teachers, because anybody can join it, sir. You can become our member and be an active participant in our activities also, because our aim and your aim is, sir, one and the same thing. And I have had the privilege of working with you. That has been my good fortune. And we conveyed all these ideas to whole of the colleges in Himachal Pradesh also, because of your great affection for Himachal Pradesh as a state. Thank you very much, and hope to see some great things coming in future collectively. Thank you very much once again. To all the present, I am also thankful that Ma'am Rekha Ghorpade was here. She is our General Secretary of the IAPT. Sir, our effort is, you must be feeling it in this program also, to have women empowerment in IAPT also. So that is also our very small, effort. And we are seeing that they are coming out in great ways in, taking our agenda forward. So once again, I thank all the participants. Please keep coming on. We are going to continue for another set of 5 lectures. Thank you very much.
Professor Ahluwalia, you mentioned two things for which I thought maybe I should give an answer. They were almost like questions.
Yes, sir.
Of course, I'm happy to meet Professor Yogesh Kumar, Professor Rekha Ghorpade, and then other secretaries, General Secretary, and so on. You asked two questions. You mentioned at least. One is about this ISRO making available a kit. So the one that I talked about, EXP EVA XPICE Junior, was created by somebody from Kerala. Maybe, I don't know whether we are talking about that. It comes with 50 experiments. In fact, it comes with all the required things. For example, I still remember one experiment in, it comes with a magnet, and then you give power to a rotating armature. Then what happens is this thing rotates, and then it produces alternating current. You can actually see the waveform. Now, if you increase the current intensity, then you can see that waveform also changes. In the whole thing, this is one of the 50 experiments that I talked about, right? Comes with the whole kit, and it can be your laptop or a computer becomes the scope. Whereas this thing is a standalone kit, you just connect it, and it is written in Python. And we have spoken tutorials that explain how to use it. So even if whatever you are saying is a different one, I'm pretty sure that we can create spoken tutorials on that. That is the first point. The other thing is about language dubbing, that you wanted to dub it into other languages. In case you plan to do it, if you give an extempore talk in English, for example, it becomes a little difficult to do that, because if you notice, one thing we did was never to touch the video. Only the audio had to be changed. Okay. Now, if you do that, the question is, English is a very precise language, whereas our languages are verbose. They may require more time to say the same thing. How do we do that? So we made sure that the original script itself was controlled. It was not, people are not allowed to speak whatever they want. For example, we said no sentence shall exceed 80 characters. No Victorian English is permitted, because our people can talk a sentence that may be a paragraph long. It'll become very difficult to dub it into other languages. So if you take care of some of these things, then it is possible. It is doable, but it requires some effort. I'll be happy to help in case somebody wants to do that. And then I think Professor Rekha Ghorpade had a question. If you can unmute her.
Ma'am, you are on mute.
Yeah, thank you, sir. It's not a question. I would like to share something with you. My experience before the pandemic, we did not know that these things are going to be happening. I conducted a workshop for my students with the help of Bombay IIT on XPICE.
Okay.
And it was a 2 days workshop for the students of UG as well as PG. And it was really a boon for us, during the pandemic to conduct the practicals. And very large number of practicals can be conducted with the help of that XPICE setting and our software. So thanks to that particular venture by Spoken Tutorial. Thank you.
Sir, may I mention one thing, that the XPICE experiments have been made by Professor Ajit Kumar of Inter-University Accelerator Center, sir.
Right.
Yes,
and he is part of our activities, and he comes to our convention and gives lots of talks about the kind of wonderful kit which he has created. And I think we are going to make these kinds of workshops come up in near future also. Our regional councils are very active, sir. You have seen Ma'am Rekha Ghorpade's intervention that she has mentioned. So I think that's a great thing which you have mentioned about. Thank you very much.
Happy to have a coordination and cooperation with each other.
And Ma'am is at Bombay only, sir. She is at Bombay only.
I was working in a Jhunjhunwala College, Ghatkopar, retired last year. continue. Yeah. So under that, we really, the college is very active.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Very close.
And
Yeah.
And
Sir,
Professor Ahluwalia, we wish to have these type of lecture offline also if the time permits. In future, we will like to have Professor Kannan Modgil at GNU, and I wish to have the support from IAPT as well for this type of lecture offline as well.
Manish, I have some query to Sir.
Yes.
Sir, this is Dr. Seema Vats from President IAPT RC1. Recently, we organized a Arduino workshop, basically for beginners, and then we actually collaborated it with some physics experiment, and we had demonstrated around 5 experiments which can be done with the help of a Arduino. Now, I just want a suggestion from your side, like if we want to have some training courses for teachers or students, what would be it like? Like we should have a video first, or it should be a hybrid mode training, offline and online, or we should have some baby steps we take in have this training of teachers which are linked to Atal Tinkering Lab actually. And we can do it with physics. Particularly, we are more involved with the innovative projects in physics, which can have a relevance to the society, which can solve the problems of the society, like related to water filtration, maybe solar panels, and something like this at a ground level. So please guide me in this regard.
Yeah, actually a very good question. I'm happy that you mentioned Arduino. Because it's a modern microcontroller instead of 80, 85, 86, and so on, which are very old. And Arduino is also open source microcontroller, so which is nice. Now we have been actually also thinking about these. What about students who don't have access to? In fact, we are thinking about that. One is video, the other one is hands-on. But I thought that there should be something in between also. For schools, for example, rightly you said about Atal Tinkering Labs. Unfortunately, some of the schools may not have them in working condition, for example, or they may not have received funds for whatever reason, or they may have only 5 kids and they may have 50 students who want to learn. Okay, for various reasons. So, in fact, we are in the process of coming up with a cloud version of Arduino that you can actually go click. Let me see if I can locate that. Yeah, I'm not sure that I'll be talking about this. Otherwise, I would have. Let me just check if I can locate it. I'll be. Yeah, I could look at it. Let me just show you that. Okay, I'm not able to show because we have, what I will do is I'll send you the link. Okay.
Yes, you share your mail ID, and I'll just send you my mail ID so that we can exchange the queries and the answers.
I will do that also, but just for somebody who's interested, they can actually go to this place where the cloud version is there. Okay.
Okay. Okay, sir.
And that's my email address. You're welcome to write to me. So somebody says that she's a Persian language. In fact, I want to tell you, we have dubbed 200 tutorials into Persian. Can you believe it? Why did we do that? Because at one time, before the Taliban took over Afghanistan, we were in very close contact. We signed an MOU with them. And one of the languages, Dari, is it's a version of Persian. So we thought that our tutorials will be very useful to Afghans. We dubbed them into Persian. So we are on the lookout for people who know Persian. Please write to me. I have written my email address on the chat. You can write to me. Be happy to do that. So to Professor Seema Vats, the answer to your question is we have to try everything.
Okay, sir. Okay.
We have to try everything. There is nothing like I will do this first, I'll do this next. But doing video is easier, so you should do that first. One can pick up. In fact, we tell that side-by-side learning also, we tell go through the video first once, just listen to it. Then open it side by side and do one command at a time, practice side by side, for example, right? We say that. So, and then, in fact, I'm telling that we should do, some people will come with Arduino kit, some people will go to the cloud and then practice, things like that. By the way, this cloud thing, we have validated for the Arduino spoken tutorial. We also have Arduino spoken tutorials. We have about, I think about 15 to 20 Arduino spoken tutorials, and most of them have been found to work on the Arduino cloud, which means that you can actually click, drag, drop. You can put an LED, you can put a counter, you can connect them, wires are there. You can do all of that. And it gives almost like a real experience. So you can do that. Arduino Cloud, we have still not launched, but we'll be happy to make them available to you. I've shown you where it is. If IAPT wants to do something like this for Arduino Cloud, I will get our developers. Once again, remember I told you in the attainable pyramids of excellence, I said cloud. There are people, good students from across the country who came and developed it. So the whole thing is collaborative in our this thing, that it is possible for us to motivate people, make them climb the ladder, right? Make them climb the pyramid, right? That is what we should do. And I believe that NEP should focus on that.
Sir, there is one more question, ma'am, from Rajendra Adhikari, who is professor at Kathmandu University in Nepal. And he's saying, Professor Karnan, how this software can be used or subscribed in Nepal. I saw it can translate in Nepali as well.
So for your kind information, so by the way, I didn't get the name, Professor Rajendra Adhikari, right?
Yes, sir.
So delighted to hear this question. So is he available? I don't see him. Or can he come on the screen?
I think he is here, maybe.
Because
yes, sir. He will speak now.
Okay. Let me just share my screen in the meantime.
Sure, sir.
I want to show you what we have done. So this is our spoken tutorial web page, and I want you to see we have 366 tutorials already dubbed into Nepali. Nepali is one of our 22 languages. It's the official language in Sikkim, right? So, and who did this dubbing? You'll be surprised. It's a Nepali citizen. Okay. As a matter of fact, when she went to the US, she wanted to show some support. She wrote to me whether I could give her support, because for dubbing, we gave money at the time. We had money at the time. Okay. So we gave a letter to her saying that in the last 1 year, we paid her so much, and we will continue to do that because she will continue to dub it into Nepali. She got the visa, US visa, based on our support. She's in the US, she's working. She got her master's degree, she's working there. So she's my LinkedIn friend, for example, right?
Yes, sir.
So let me play one Nepali now that you mentioned. Let me search all tutorials in Nepali. So it is. So let's take classes and objects in Nepali and play.
Yeah.
C++ को classes and objects spoken tutorial मा स्वागत छ। यो tutorial मा हामी सिक्ने छौं class, object, encapsulation र data abstraction। यसो गर्न हामी एउटा उदाहरण प्रयोग
Let me go to the
गर्नेछौँ।
end of this
एजुकेसन थ्रु
tutorial.
आईसीटी MHRD भारत सरकारको सहयोग रहेको छ। यस मिसन सम्बन्धी थप जानकारी तलको लिंकमा उपलब्ध छ। यो ट्युटोरियलमा मन्दिरा थापाको योगदान रहेको छ। सहभागी हुनुभएकोमा धन्यवाद। नमस्कार।
So her name is
C++
Mandira.
को
Oops.
क्लासेस
Her name is Mandira. That's what I wanted you to see. So she made that. So thanks for the question. What is required is for this training to be made available in Nepal, number one. Number two, as I mentioned, we don't have money to do the dubbing anymore. So if the Nepal government is interested, we'll help you do the dubbing. Okay. And we have a honorarium. There are two ways to do that. One is do it as a project at IIT Bombay. Other one is you do it. We just tell you how to do it and you just get it done. Only thing is, if it is done as a project, then we give a honorarium to every contributor. Then that may become easier, and we handhold, we make sure that things work. In any case, these subscription methods are available to your students also, and we'll be happy whether they are an independent learner or a college level learner. Subscription mechanism, we'll be happy to do that. So let me stop sharing.
And I have one thing, sir. Maybe we have a lot of volunteers in Kathmandu University, so they can contribute their voice on this tutorial. Like I can find maybe how much number, like 10, 15, even that number. So if you need any help from our side, it will be completely a voluntary contribution. We don't need any honorarium or anything else.
Thanks for that. But one of the questions we have is, people ask, why are you doing dubbing? Remember, I started, as Professor Ahluwalia mentioned, we started in 2009 and then conducted this 2010, January 26th, our Republic Day, we launched our portal. That's when we launched it, right? So we have been doing it since that time, dubbing in all languages. One of the criticisms was, why are you dubbing in all languages? So we would like to see, before we dub anymore, we would like to see whether this is actually useful. So is it possible for Nepali schools, for example, will they want to learn word processing using Nepali dubbing? So we would want, in fact, one of the things that a university in Tamil Nadu, in Chennai, Crescent University, said that they would bring 200 schools. They would help those schools to train and so on. So they are already a partner. Similarly, Graphic Era University in Uttarakhand, Dehradun, they are also going to join that. They are going to bring 200 schools because schools actually need a little more help. I cannot be at IIT and do that. So if a college says that I will coordinate with schools, so what are we going to do? They will, we will handhold the teachers to get trained and help the teachers to train the students, school students. Of course, it can only be done in schools where they have resources. Sorry, unfortunately, it cannot be done on tablet. It has to be a laptop or a computer. That's why I always say, don't buy tablet, because you can only consume things. You cannot create.
Yeah.
Your tablet is a consumption device, whereas a laptop is a creation device. A school should have computers, and computer room means laptops or computers. So I'm sure there are good schools in Nepal that have this. Kathmandu, for example, I visited Kathmandu, I gave there to give a keynote speech in an international conference several years ago, 2013-14 timeframe. I came, and beautiful place. I really enjoyed my visit, and you know, in fact, I was telling you about Myanmar. Myanmar schools were more advanced. International schools were more advanced than the colleges. They had more facilities. We conducted workshops for schools in Nepal, schools in Myanmar, right? So schools may want to do that. So I suggest first show the use case before we do the dubbing, because this is the criticism you will face from your government, from other Nepali speaking people. They will say, why do it in Nepal? Nepali. First thing they will ask. People are not willing to do, but they are ready to criticize. They will criticize first. So I'm telling you a criticism ahead of time. There is a use case. Who's using it? Show me that number first. Okay. So your help in that is most welcome. And because it was created by a Nepali speaking person from Nepal, I'm sure there will be some difference in accent between Nepali spoken in, let's say, Sikkim and the one spoken in Nepal. So this is with actual Nepali accent, original Nepali residents accent, right?
Sir, may I mention one thing? Professor Adhikari actually is a wonderful volunteer, and he has done something very great for his country. He has established in his university a high-performance computing facility, which he got from the CERN. The things which were abundant there, he brought those in Nepal, and now they are doing lots of material science first principle calculations on those systems. And he actually took it to the Tribhuvan University in Kathmandu also. There was something which was given by some agency in Germany, and they have once again set up a high-performance computing facility there. So I think if he comes in this kind of a loop, sir, he will be able to achieve the things what he is actually trying to think. Thank you very much.
We'll be very happy to have you. And if there are more open source, software suitable for physics students and spoken tutorials have to be created, we can explore that as well.
Yeah, excellent, sir. And I had, if there is time, I might have one quick question about cloud on the Arduino on the cloud.
Sure.
We have a couple of nodes here, and if you provide the technical expertise, maybe I can deploy that in our supercomputing center also, so that our electrical engineering and all sort of engineering students can use that facility in the cloud.
We'll be very happy with this in development stage now, but we'll be very happy to have some smart Nepali computer science people to join hands with us and help develop it further. And it's an open source. We'll be more than happy to join hands, not only make it available, but have you as partner.
Yeah, excellent, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. It was indeed such a wonderful discussion going on. I don't really want to interrupt, but because of the paucity of time, I have to. But I just want to mention, sir, I am one of the learner from your spoken tutorial. In the pandemic, I took the opportunity and I learned our language, and then this XSpice and Python. So I have done workshop which you have conducted using the YouTube links, and I used to take the help from YouTube links to conduct to make the small programs and all. So it's really wonderful. It was my personal experience, which I have taken from IIT Bombay under your guidance, but it is really wonderful. And as sir mentioned, Ahluwalia sir and Seema ma'am has mentioned that we will surely have you again in IAPT, and we will surely have some more workshop on Arduino. And if possible, if circumstances permits us, then we will have the physical mode as well. Thank you.
Because you mentioned R, the
Yes.
R workshop is going to happen. In fact, I just sent a link for it on the chat. It is on 5th of March. It's a one-day workshop.
Okay.
This is machine learning using R.
Okay.
It may be of interest to some people. So those of you who are interested may just click that and then save that link, may use that. So
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now-
Namaskar.
Yeah, now I request Dr. Yogesh Kumar, the Secretary IAPT RC01, to propose the vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. I, Yogesh Kumar, Secretary, IAPT RC1, honored to have the opportunity to give a vote of thanks on this event. Today, I take the opportunity to put all my gratitude into words. On behalf of the entire IAPT and JNU, I extend my hearty vote of thanks to the eminent speaker, Professor Kannan Mudgalya, for accepting our invitation and taking out his precious time to deliver such a wonderful and informative talk. It has been quite motivating and encouraging for the participants as well. Thank you, sir, for sharing your wide spectrum of knowledge. I thank our respected chief guest, Professor Alok Kumar Chakraval, Vice Chancellor, GGC University, Bilaspur, who graced us with his presence and guidance. Sir, indeed your words have inspired the audience. I am very much thankful to Professor P.K. Ahluwalia, President IAPT, for sharing his views on lecture. I also thank him for his enormous cooperation and guidance in the organization of this event. I extend my special thanks to Professor Kedar Singh, Dean JNU, for giving welcome address and express his views on the event. I would also like to acknowledge my gratitude to Professor Manish Kashyap and Dr. Ramprasad Prajapati ji for introducing the speakers. Moreover, I have been fortunate enough to have a team of very motivated and dedicated members, Professor Kedar Singh, Professor Manish Kashyap, Professor Ram Sagar Mishra, Dr. Ramprasad Prajapati, Dr. Pawan Kulriya, Dr. Vijay Goyal, Dr. Rekha Gorpade, Secretary IAPT, Dr. Seema Vats, President IAPT RC1, Dr. Poonam Jain, EC member IAPT RC1. I extend my sincere thanks to them for their help in the organization of this event. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all the eminent speakers for giving their valuable time and making this event a success. Needless to say, I would also like to extend a big thank you to our audience for sparing their time and patiently listening to the proceeding of the event. Thank you all. Stay safe and stay connected.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Today's event, a resounding success, has approached its completion. Before signing off formally, I thank all the eminent speakers, the special guest, the audience, and all those who have spared their time. A big thank you to all for making it a great success. The attendance link is already shared in the chat box. Thank you for joining us. Thank you everyone for being a part of this lecture.
And thank you to Dr. Poonam as well for conducting this session. And next
My
Saturday,
pleasure,
we are
sir.
going to meet again.
Sure, sir.
The link will remain same. This Zoom link will remain same for the third lecture as well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Ahluwalia, sir. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Manish, sir.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Yes, you can close the session now, please.
Sure, sir.